My name is Tracey. I'm a recovered alcoholic, and I am a Program Facilitator Lead at Top of the World Ranch. Fear of the unknown, fear of actually getting well and what that would look like. I had gone to treatment in 2014, which was a successful treatment. I remained sober, or abstinent rather, for about 5 years after that treatment. So I consider treatment to be a successful avenue for recovery. Well, for starters, I would say my age. There was a definite age difference from that treatment to this treatment. And also, I think it was the willingness. What was different was I was willing to try it again to get a different result. They should know that they're trusting somebody else to help them recover. They should know that that's something that they want and are willing to allow someone else to participate in getting them there. When I was a client at Top of the World Ranch, I learned that fear is false evidence appearing real. I learned to walk through fear on a hike. Nonetheless, I'd never hiked before in my life, so I was afraid of that. I learned to release my mental strain through sound therapy and yoga. They weren't having that in my community, okay? So I learned how to be free, and I learned how to rely on someone else's expertise to get me there. I'm a mom, and so I thought I know everything. I'm a wife of a retired military for 23 years. He was in the service, and so I learned that accepting that alcohol won and that I could be free from it. I learned that here. Specifically, I was very engaged with the one-on-one. For a lot of years, I was okay to admit to someone that I was a little crazy or that I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. What I wasn't willing to do was admit that I was an alcoholic and that my life had become unmanageable because of it. So one-on-one therapy was very, very helpful. And believe it or not, the chefs, the food, the passion that they cooked the food with, the knowledge that I learned, because before I got here, I wasn't eating. I could care less if I was having a vegetable or if I was hydrated or what that meant for my body and what that meant for my brain. I was hopeless and defeated when I got here. And so, yeah, somebody preparing a meal for me that was going to give me strength and that was going to encourage my senses, and it made me feel worth it. It made me feel worth it. And the sound therapy and the processing, the different groups, there are a variety of groups that take place here. The processing group especially forced me to speak about how I felt, whether I was sad, mad, fear. It addressed shame and guilt, which was something that I hid behind for years. It's what fueled my drinking. You drink like I did too, if you lived where I lived, if you grew up like I grew up, if you had the mom that I had, if you had excuses and blame, I was fueled by it. So there I sat at 54 years old in treatment, having to make some decisions, having to make some choices. Top of the World's processing group helped me do that. It just helped me do that. It uncovered, it just pulled the wool off of everything, but they also supported me through that. They helped me navigate through those hurt feelings and navigate through that fear. And so processing group, one-on-one, all of the groups really, but sound therapy, yoga, one-on-one therapy. Like I said, I walked through some pretty tremendous fear on the council-guided hikes It's pretty amazing. The best for me here is the peace and the tranquility. The peace and the tranquility encouraged me to be comfortable in my own skin. And I think that encompasses all that they offer, all of the groups, the freedom that we had here, the freedom that they still have here, you know, the walk into the resident, like everything had a meaning. Everything had a meaning, right? You're walking from the residence, you're walking to the lodge, you're setting intentions all day long. You're preparing yourself. It just was an all-encompassing growth experience that I hope anybody struggling with addiction would get the opportunity to participate in. Specifically, I know for a fact, not because I'm an employee here, but I know for a fact that from the time I left Detox and I got to Top of the World Ranch, that there was a specific design prepared with me, just for me. And so it entailed them knowing who I was before I did. They knew who I was before I did, before I even got here. And I think that's what made the biggest difference. The biggest difference, and it gave me the most hope. So you could blow me over with a feather right now still at this experience. I was a preschool teacher previous to coming into treatment and was given the opportunity to take a leave of absence for my mental health. They did not know that I was alcoholic. I did not admit that to them. So, oh my goodness, what made me want to come and work here was the constant care that I got from here when I left treatment. The phone calls, I had an opportunity to see some of the facilitators at outside meetings. I right away was given the opportunity to volunteer here. And so, so I would come and facilitate the women's meetings on Sunday mornings. And I did that religiously for months as if it were my job. And then what ended up happening was an opportunity to work here presented itself, and I applied for it, and my life is so different and so wonderful in comparison to the immediateness of it when I left treatment. I learned that I have a God of my own understanding, and I learned how to go to that God while I was here. It wasn't my mom's God. It wasn't my grandmother's God. My spiritual experience and my spiritual breakthrough here allowed me to feel confident, and I was able to establish a relationship with a higher power that I hadn't had before I got here. First, today, being where I am right now in recovery, and it's just a little over a year that I am recovered, I would say make sure that you help yourself. I would say pray for that person, but I would say encourage them to get to know who they are first. Instead of encouraging them to go get help, they have to want to have help. They have to at first realize that they need help. And I know that in addiction, sometimes we feel like we're not hurting anybody else. When I was actively drinking, I felt like I was just doing my thing and I wasn't bothering anybody else. Well, I was killing my family. I was killing relationships. I was killing my own spirit, you know? And what I would say to a family member is to, while you're supporting that person, just encourage them to know who they are and where they want to be. Because unless they want it, unless they absolutely are willing to get the help that's offered, it won't be successful. I would say you are not alone. I would say the devil is a lie and you have permission to call him that. And I would say pray and ask for help, but be willing to receive it. Be willing to receive it. You don't have to live like that anymore. That's what I'd say. Yeah, I got goosebumps right now. Just thinking about what my life was like before I got here. And then now I'm not only living better, thinking better, feeling better, I'm doing better. And I have an opportunity to give back to a place that I know for a fact changed my life. Today I believe in divine intervention. I believe that I'm here for a purpose and a reason. And I'm just so excited and grateful to be here and have the opportunity to share that with people on a daily basis. That it's real. Recovery is real. It's hard work. And that